Hey everybody, and welcome to another weekly recap video. Today I'm going to be going over anything that has affected the Runescape community this week, discussions on Reddit, as well as any content updates that have hit the game this week. I'm going to avoid talking about any drama or anything like that and focus solely on information and any suggestions. Anyway, hope you enjoy and let's get started. So there was only really one content update this week, and that was the introduction of new Stronghold of Security questions as well as change to the Ghostly Robe. So there's actually a small competition held on Reddit for people to write some new updated questions for the Stronghold of Security. Looks like they chose about 10 new ones. There's a sign commemorating all of the contestants on the very bottom level of the Stronghold of Security. An example of a new one is, to pass you must answer me this. A player starts asking you about very specific details linked to your account, such as when you created it, your birth date, your internet provider, etc. How should you respond? Or how do I remove hijackers from my account? These are going to be more useful for new players because the old ones are pretty obvious. Now the Ghostly Robes have been changed minorly. You are now able to reobtain all the pieces of the Ghostly Robe set after you complete the Curse of the Empty Lord mini quest. You're able to reclaim any amount of each piece, so you can kind of stockpile them in your bank. Yesterday the iOS closed beta went live, so 10,000 people will be trying out RuneScape Mobile. Pretty excited for them. There's been a small UI change for mobile just to make the icons a little bit bigger and spaced correctly, so I think it does look better. And one thing I'm actually pretty excited for is there's actually a Master Clue reward competition. If you don't know, they want to add a reward for completing 100 Master level Clue Scrolls. For the other tiers, there is rewards for completing certain amounts of Clue Scrolls. So there's a competition on Reddit, and we're going to be looking at some of the better suggestions later in the video. Other minor changes is you can no longer use the Scythe of Viter on Entrana. That's too bad, because the Scythe of Viter is pretty much the strongest weapon in the game. It's pretty hilarious that it was not considered a weapon on Entrana. It's just an oversight, easy to make, but still kind of funny. Now you'll need to have your PIN unlocked before you can withdraw cash from your servant's money bag in a POH. Kind of a minor change, but I guess it's nice if you store a lot of money there. Now there's also a live opinion poll on holiday events. An opinion poll is essentially, it's not an actual poll for content, just kind of a pre-poll to see how people feel about this topic. The opinion poll is about holiday events and how they're added into the game. They're essentially just trying to get an opinion on if it's worth continuing to do them and if they should be using all new assets, all new rewards, or reusing assets and stuff. Anyway, go check it out. Now that's pretty much all the content updates this week. Not a lot, but again, it's nice to have smaller updates more frequently because getting constant new content all the time is probably not super healthy for the game. Now next up here, the Golden Gnome Awards are starting pretty soon. No, I'm not going to be entering. There's no way I would end up winning that. There's so many good video content producers out there, and I know someone else will win, so I'm happy for them. So the nominations are going to be closing on the 6th of September. There's video awards, streaming awards, art awards, and cosplay awards. For the video awards, I'll just read out the ones pertaining to Old School RuneScape. There's the Old School RuneScape Video of the Year, the Best New Old School RuneScape Video Maker, and the Best Old School RuneScape Video Maker. There's streaming awards, so the Best New Old School RuneScape Streamer and the Best Old School RuneScape Streamer. For art, there's the Best Artistic Creation and the Best Artist. And for the Cosplay Award, there's the Most Creative Cosplay and the Best Cosplay. Honestly, these categories are not so distinct in my opinion. They're very vague. Like, what's the difference between the Most Creative Cosplay and the Best Cosplay? Also, couldn't the Most Creative Cosplay be the Best Cosplay? I don't know. A little confusing to me, but they can do whatever they want to do. On August 24th, there was actually a quick patch to the game for a few minor bugs. Not super important, but I thought I'd mention it. And last up here, a pretty common scam that most people know about, but I thought I'd mention it anyway because it's popped up quite a few times this week, is manipulation of low volume items. Here's an example here of a Chaos Talisman artificially inflated up to 25k each. This is done by people advertising they're paying this price for it. And to begin with, they will buy out a bunch of them at higher prices from their friends or from another account just to artificially inflate the average price. So if someone's offering to buy an obscure item off of you, not using the Grand Exchange, 100% scam, don't do it please. I saw about 4 or 5 of these this week, so just keep that in mind. And one exciting piece of news from this week is that RuneScape Mobile is actually number 2 in the adventure section in Finland. So that's a great start, especially considering it's still just in closed beta. I think RuneScape Mobile does have the potential to hit the top of the charts at some point. Now, one thing I wanted to add to the format is a Q&A recap. Normally, there is a weekly Q&A where you can ask the RuneScape developers questions regarding the game. However, it's normally about 1 hour long, so I decided to take the answers boil them down to the most important ones, and then I will just try to keep this down to a minute or two so you know what's going on, but you don't have to watch the entire thing. I'm also only going to be posting the answers that they were receptive to. If they thought it was a bad idea or just a general question, I'm not going to be including it. The first question was, can you boost the requirements for the new quest, Making Friends with My Arm? Turns out fire making can't be boosted, mining, agility, and construction can be boosted. And he also mentioned having a slightly higher agility level would be advantageous. One of Reddit's suggestions from last week was, can you combine 4 of the pouches to make a giant pouch at level 85. There's a straw poll for it, and 85% of people said yes, so they said it might be worth polling in the future. Can limpet roots take 3 times the amount of seeds, 3 times longer to grow, and give 3 times the yield to make it coincide with herb runs? They answered it would be a nice quality of life change and doesn't buff it too much. You'd have to look at the numbers in game before making a call on it. Can the coal bag get an empty bag function for when you're depositing it into your bank? And they said yes, it would be a nice quality of life change. Have you looked into poison? P and P plus are junk items are pretty much just used for scamming now. They said yes, they would like to have a look at it. Since P++ is usually the only option people use, apparently you can right click and report items that aren't priced correctly. If you have any suggestions on how to make poison useful, please send a suggestion or put it on Reddit. Will there be another king of the skill? Yes, there will likely be one. It will have to be revised, reviewed, and probably would have less rewards. Can we make Barbarian potions more useful? They said they don't want to make them the meta, but would be open to making them a bit better. Can we add a spice rack into the POH to hold spices? It saves 16 bank spaces, and they said it was a good idea. They also mentioned the next poll is on buckets of sand and sandstorm. Alright, so next up, I'm going to be having a look at the Runescape Reddit and pulling all of the meaningful suggestions from there this week. So let's start off here. Kitty6660 suggested the introduction of rich veins. Rich veins would rarely appear and last for a while until a number of ores have been mined from them. Essentially, it'd be a rock with increased yield. He's suggesting that a rich coal vein could yield anywhere between 10 and 40, and a rich rune vein would yield between 3 and 10. It would just add a bit more variety to mining, and would be able to use some of these old rock models. Now, I really like this next suggestion. This is changing back the forum format to what it was more like in 2007. The current forum layout and color palette is just not very interesting. For some reason, it just doesn't pop. I don't like it that much. Looking at the old RuneScape forum, has a lot more colors to it, feels a lot more old school, and felt just more community oriented. For whatever reason, I'm not sure what it is, but the new format I don't like so much. Next up here is an option to reanimate Nimh. I know this is a big meme from the last week, but this was actually posted 8 months ago. The requirements would be the completion of Monkey Madness 2, 100% Arceus Favor, 115 Combat, and 75 Slayer. I don't think this should be a spell in the Arceus spellbook by any means, but maybe have it be an option would be kind of cool. Next up here, the artisanal skilling. Now, this is not a throwback to the artisan skill that was trying to be added. Now, what this guy is suggesting is making more complex skilling recipes, essentially. So making something like a divine pie would require a pot of fresh corn flour. The corn flour has to be made within the last hour. It's an untradeable item. Blessed water, summer squirt fruit, and just more complicated skilling methods. This is to reduce people mass producing it and maybe giving more meaningful rewards to higher level skilling. I think it's a good idea for maybe a few extra items. However, I don't think all of skilling should be making like a 10-tier complex pie or cake. It is a cool idea though. Now we're going to be going over some of the Master Clue Scroll reward competition entries and some of my favorites. Okay, a post by Ninja Gamer 1337 is just a simple Clue Scroll cape with a casket on the back, which I think looks pretty cool. However, I think we have a lot of capes in game. It would be cool to have a more unique cosmetic item. Now another suggestion by Chathead is a slightly different reward idea. Upon completing your 100th master clue, your reward screen will contain a Clue Scroll Strange. This will be a humorous 4-step mini clue that takes you to 4 iconic Clue Scroll related locations and eventually ends up with you digging up your 100 Clue Scroll reward casket at Watson's house. So this isn't actually a reward suggestion, just kind of more the method on how you obtain it instead of just getting it easily from your 100th clue. I think this is a good idea and would add just one extra challenge to getting the reward. Next up here by ya boy Monk is a wieldable clue bottle. This two-handed giant clue bottle continues the theme of two-handed Clue Scroll cosmetics related to clue hunting activity. I think it looks cool and this is a very viable suggestion. And last up, a suggestion by Vacuum Shoes is a head casket reward, I suppose is what you'd call it. You know, it's kind of cool. It might be kind of a troll suggestion, but I don't know. Now there are quite a lot of suggestions out there, but I just picked my favorites. And last up here, a Reddit post that doesn't really fit into a suggestion category, but I think it's cool anyway, is the RuneScape Bestiary timeline. So you can see what the graphics have looked like throughout the different versions of RuneScape. So for example, if we look at the green dragon, you can see it in 2001, 2004, it looks like a fucking weird horse. 2006, looking pretty nice. 2008, still looks pretty cool. And 2013 is RS3. They've done it for greater demons, dragons, and giants, which kind of look like people in RuneScape Classic, to be honest. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for the weekly recap. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave the video a like. I always appreciate it, and I will see you next time.